We should be live in like 10 seconds, 5 seconds. We'll see. We'll see. All right, so I believe we're live. Let me just shoot the link out to Twitter, and I'll drop it for you guys in the Discord. Yeah, so... Damn, my computer's acting crazy. All right, so... Let's see. Welcome, everybody, if you're watching. Yep, we are live. Yes. Yes. Okay. So I'll just... drop this in Discord so you guys can check it out. Welcome. It's been a while. Haven't been live in a while, so I'm excited about this. We got not financial advice. I'm here with BitBoy and Benjamin Blunts, and they're gonna fight it out to see who's the real paid group leader. Actually, we got the homie Blunts, smart contractor in the house. Always a pleasure. Welcome.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Chilling in the dojo. We got Stillman, Altcoin legend, one of the best FA guys out there. If you're not following him, make sure to follow him.
Hey, what's up?
Got Xavi. Some people may not know this guy, but for those in the dojo know, he is a true wizard. Dude has made some pretty friggin' amazing calls. Awesome analyst. Definitely pay attention when he speaks. Xavi, what's up, man?
All good. Thank you for the intro.
Yeah, and then we have, as you can see, a full house. So we're going to take some calls from the audience as well. And pretty excited about this format. Messiah should be here pretty shortly. And I don't know, like, what do you guys want to talk about? Obviously, the markets. I'm switching right now to Bitcoin's chart. We're getting the initial Asia dump somewhat. Let's see. Blunt, you want to go first? Give us your take on BTC.
I'm just trying to have a look at your screen. Where can I find your shared screen,
So
KJ?
You would probably have to open up. You'd have to have
Could you...
YouTube open. Should I share it here?
Yeah, could you share it here too? That would be perfect for the people in here, I think.
Okay, there we go.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Watch stream, sweet.
All right, doing a lot at once here.
Yeah, it's all happening.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's zoom out a little bit. I mean, looking at the dailies.
So currently you are showing us your tab with the YouTube open.
Oh.
So I think you gotta share different application, different browser.
See, the problem is, this is why Chris said to do it the other way. Like, basically, have you guys have YouTube open muted, and then when you guys share, I switch to Discord.
I'll do that. I'll open up.
I think that's the best way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably the best way, as opposed to me sharing. And then I put it up here so that the people on YouTube can see my screen. And then when you guys want to share, what I'll do is I'll switch it over to Discord and open up what you're sharing. Yeah. So
There's some playback going on.
All right.
But
yeah, so
I think it's best if if I just hand it over to one of you guys, probably it'll flow better, and then I'll go at the end. That might be the way to go. Or we could just talk about it together. But
mute.
What?
Yeah, let's do that. Sounds good.
Yes.
Blunts, you want to show some charts, stuff that you're looking at the moment?
I'm just hearing 10 different people talk at the moment. I think someone needs to mute their YouTube playback.
I don't hear it.
I hear nothing. Here in Discord,
It
there's
might be you.
silence.
I think you have to mute
Maybe.
YouTube. So like basically what you want to do is mute your YouTube and yeah. We've never done this before. Like looking at the daily doesn't look great though. I mean, it's not fantastic, but there's a lot of volatility in these candles. So
Fixed it.
you good?
Yeah. Did you want me to screen? Share
Yeah,
screen?
go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, so where are you? And so now basically we are watching your stream.
What can you see? Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
Can
so
you
I have
see
Bitcoin, US dollar, Coinbase on my screen.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. Well, I mean, so basically, I think we're gonna put in we're putting in a higher low here. So I think we're gonna be probably maybe come a little bit lower to this 0.78, and basically, I mean, obviously you guys know that I do Elliott wave, but basically I think this rise here was a 5-wave rise. So I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we just got like a sort of drawn out ABC here. We're going to come down to the 0.78. Maybe it's bottomed already. I'm not entirely sure, but I do think we're going to put in a higher low and then probably start grinding back up towards sort of this area here, the 61.8 or the 78.6. I'm still on the fence about whether or not we've topped or not, or whether or not we go on to make new all-time highs from here. I'm not sure 100%, but I do think we are going to pop up to this zone here, and then I'll probably make a decision there based on like what kind of reaction we have from this zone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what I'm thinking. I think FUSD looks exactly the same as well. It doesn't. This is like structurally it looks exactly the same to me. I think we're bouncing right now, and we head up to there. And if we clear that level and we keep going up, then all right, cool. I'll be like, sweet. I think we're going to new highs. But right now, I'm just a bit sus on the way that this move is just sort of like one move. It wasn't really subdivided, so like that could indicate to me the first leg down. I'm not sure. I'm really on the fence about that. For the moment, in the short term, I am bullish, and I think we're going to pop up and test that 61.8 on ORS 0.786 on the way back, and then I'll probably look to make a decision when we get there.
Interesting.
Pretty much. Yeah. What were you thinking?
You know, somewhat similar outlook. I'll just switch over to mine. Like for me, when you look at it on the hourly resolution, like kind of aligns with what you're saying. Basically, you have like a lot of candle closes at this level, around like 41,100, and you got to remember also at this height, like it's very difficult to be precise to like $100 or like $50. You have to like pick kind of a little broader areas, in my opinion. But when I see like candle closes here, and then you get this somewhat steep retrace, normally this is kind of your make or break level, and this could definitely get tapped again, and that would be like, you know, kind of similar to your level. This, what was it, the 718? Yeah. And you know, when you're dealing with leverage and these, you know, these exchanges, you know, you get the liquidation cascade, and sometimes it ends up bringing it right to this. But normally, this is kind of like a structure that I pay attention to when you get like, it's kind of, I call it like the sneaky top. But
Yeah.
rest assured, if it's able to break through this at this level, yeah, clearly I think we're going to another all-time high, and you know, 50,000
Yeah,
would be the next likely target. But we were just talking about it earlier, and one of the things that's interesting, and I'm in alignment with you as far as ETH and BTC looking very similar, but Stillman actually pointed out that ETH and BTC dominance, so like ETH dominance overall, as well as BTC, look almost identical as well.
At least on the 4 hour, they're printing the exact same structure.
Let's look at that.
Yeah, I think Bitcoin dominance can have another leg lower here for sure. I was gonna ask you guys, like, what's your opinion on alts, because I think we're very close to an alt season myself, but In the
Yeah.
same token, we've all been saying it for fucking God knows how long. Like, it doesn't happen this time, doesn't it? We don't know. Like, everyone keeps saying it.
Yeah.
So,
So this
maybe
looks
it
like,
doesn't. But
to
I
me,
think we are close. Yeah.
this
Um,
oh, go ahead.
no,
Yeah.
you can.
This
you can
this this can either manifest as a bear flag, which it looks like it's trying to do at this point, but I've also seen this structure play out bullish as well. So if BTC pumps and you get that bounce and it's strong and we break above, let's say 70 BTCD, you got to remember it's a little tough with this because you don't know exactly what's in this basket all the time, and there are some outliers. But I would say it's pretty clear that 70 is a nice round number where in this type of a structure where you have a dump and then you have like a fake out and then it reconsolidates at the same level, this is basically like a fake out head and shoulders where a lot of people go, oh, it's a head and shoulders, and then before you know it, it's ripping and taking out this high and then making a new high. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where I would lean towards bearish BTCD here, but if it gets back above 70, there's definitely going to be more blood on BTC pairings on alt. So, I'm okay with taking risk here. And just, what was it, yesterday when you had USD leaving the market across the board with BTC dumping as well as alts, midday around 11 or so, I made the call like, hey, just start buying alts now. And there was like a pretty interesting conversation where we were saying like, what are you going to buy the alts with? Like BTC, are we looking at BTC pairings or USD? And just, based off of my experience, you kind of have like, you either have an instinct or a gut for it or not. I mean, we caught it the last time it happened from the 20s, the day XRP dipped 50% and whatnot. Like you either, if you can read it or not, but
And
I saw comp
people
was down.
underrate
Yeah.
gut feeling as well.
Oh yeah.
It's
I mean-
like sometimes you might not be able to pinpoint exactly why you think something's going to happen, but it's something subconsciously based on what's happened in the past, especially with crypto. Like we know how it loves to have these cycles. If you've been in crypto for like 4 or 5 years, you might just get that gut feeling.
Yeah,
something's gonna happen.
you're like,
You don't know why.
I felt this before. I know, like, so exactly 100%. And like yesterday, for instance, BTC was dumping. You could have just bought BTC and done fine. It would have played out fine. But I was looking at stuff like comp and RSR, sushi, things of that nature. Look like,
SNX.
yeah,
SNX would
these were dumping
strong.
way harder, like 60, 30%, So I just felt like it was good to take a shot on that. And I don't care if you're buying it with BTC or USD, like it's your probability for a bounce on a day like that. You really want to be a buyer across the board rather than a seller. And it sounds simple at the time, but if your portfolio isn't allocated properly, if you're all in on alts or, you don't have any USDT, you're not going to be able to capitalize on a day like that. And I think even in a bull market, it's important to set aside a reasonable allocation for USDT as well as BTC. You can't just be all in alts hoping for alt season because you're going to miss out on so much. Like plays like that, you make like 3 or 4 trades a year on days like that day and the day XRP dumped. That's all you need to be a successful trader, honestly. Like you can do really well. And even on those days, if you don't catch the bottom, you don't FOMO in onto the bounce because almost always it will give you another shot to re-enter. Like that's my take on it. But Stillman, if you want to elaborate, go for it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Regarding the Ethereum, maybe I can share my screen real quick.
Yeah, let's go to you. All right, I'm starting to get the hang of this. This is flowing. Here we go. All right, so I'm queuing up Stillman's stream. You are live.
Okay, so you guys can see my.
And maybe give it like 10 seconds for YouTube to catch up. Usually it takes a little time.
Yeah, but you guys can see my trading view now, right?
Yeah, we can see it. Yep.
Yeah. So regarding the drop, all this unfolded pretty similar to the we had.
You're sharing all
around
your
beginning of
EMAs and
February.
stuff, by the way. Just a heads up.
Nah, I don't care.
Okay.
And then what I noticed was that structure that you showed on BTC dominance actually is exactly the same on Ethereum dominance right now.
Can they
Here.
see?
And I was and I
Hold
and
on
I
one
was
second. I'm
thinking,
not sure they can see your. They should be, no, sorry.
Yeah, I think it was
Oh yeah,
Wi-Fi.
You can
I
see,
see
right?
it.
Okay, sorry.
I see it on your
I got scared.
YouTube. So yeah, so BTC dominance, you got that middle finger structure, kind of, which, as you point out, sometimes does rip upwards. We've seen that on price, like not on dominance, but and then Ethereum has the same thing, and I was wondering, like, either that's a bullish structure and it breaks upwards, and in that case both BTC and Ethereum would be taking market share from all the other alts at the same time, and BTC and Ethereum would be like doing fine, like it prints the same thing, or this is a bearish structure and both of them lose market share, and that would be because everything else, or at least like a big portion of the market, starts performing. And that's where I'm agreeing with Bluns that I think we are pretty close to strong outperformance.
And you can use that as confluence with looking at stuff like FBTC as well. Like,
yeah, sure, of course. Like,
to me,
let me just,
FBTC looks hectic. Like, I think it looks super bullish, and it's put in a fucking major low. Like, I know everyone's been saying that for a long time, and everyone was early for a long time, but I think it's put in a major right shoulder. Like, all the volumes there, volumes creeping up before it's even broken out.
yeah,
I think it's setting up for something spectacular.
I mean, look at this.
So do you think like
why do my levels not line up here? That's weird.
if you saw FBTC as well as BTC D, I'm sorry, F dominance as well as BTC D end up being a bear flag breaking down, would that imply like mid cap season for you then?
Yeah, I'm long mid perp just quietly. I think 100% the mid caps are.
Yeah.
due
You
for
start to see
some love.
some mid caps rise into the top cap into high caps.
Yeah.
You know?
I've been playing mid perp a fair bit on FTX just because I think that's just a really good instrument for me. I think.
So like, what do you think about like a
Knowing
changing
where
of the
the
guard of the
price
top
is.
10?
Oh, I mean, I was super happy to see Litecoin take out Ripple briefly the other week. There's definitely needs to be a change of guard, like NEM and EOS, and like these are multi-billion-dollar market caps, and they're fucking useless. Like no one uses them. I can't wait to see stuff like Aave take top 10 and get more than a few billion.
I'm excited to see Uniswap hit top 10. I think Uni's going there. It needs to.
They need to go on L2s though, because it's. I mean, to me, for big players, sure, Uniswap's fine, but for retailers, it's getting completely priced out of DEXs right now.
Yeah, but like the upgrades, like the layer 2 solution should solve that. I mean, Loopring already started, I think. Started to go to layer 2. You got like the former Edfinex Diversify. They've been running on the Starkware ZK stocks for like half a year now. So for some reason it's not popular, but they all solved that issue. So that makes me optimistic. And like one thing is for sure. Exactly, because one thing is for sure, Ethereum won't be ready until the next market cycle, right?
Yeah,
F 2.0. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it'll just take too long.
Flop 0.0.
So it's basically layer 2s, and it's like Polka, and I heard Messiah on his stream talk about Solana, how he's very, very bullish on ecosystems developing on there. So I'm sure when he comes, he can talk about that. So yeah, regarding BTC, it's just major bullish, right? With the dull bottom on the 2017 BTC all-time high capitulation, like the FBTC capitulation that happened back then. There,
real quick.
And then you just have just real quick, like you just have this giant bull flag that's now breaking out and retesting. Like, how is that bearish?
So DeFi Ted in the chat, what's up, man? He says L2 to L2 Ethereum is not fast, scalable, or cheap though. And connects network. I don't know anything about that, but Vector is on mainnet. This This means seamless communication to and from between L2 systems works today. Say hello to the beginning of multi-chain Ethereum ecosystem. So worth investigating. I don't know too much about it, but
Ted's a beast. Yo,
Yeah.
what's up, Ted?
yeah, Ted knows his shit.
He's
So
good. He's worth his weight in gold.
yeah, Ted's solid. So definitely
Yeah,
worth
Ted's solid.
checking it out.
Nice. So yeah,
But,
yeah.
I mean-
last thing about BTC pairings and like BTC dominance is I think it was pretty deceiving charting that because the cycling out of the old guard has already begun. So as they lost market cap, stuff like SNX already started performing despite BTC dominance still rising, right? Like
Yep.
if you only chart BTC dominance, you miss all of this, basically.
Yeah. Well, and FBTC. It looks
I
different
don't
to
like.
Bitcoin
Let
dominance.
me
They
make
don't look
let me make
the
one
same.
point because I don't like. I mean, obviously, of course, if you have the foresight, SNX, if BTC dominance is pumping, and you have the alt that's going against the trend and kind of the outlier, that's kind of like having WTC in 2017 September. You know what I'm saying? Like where everything else is pulling back, but overall, it's going to be really hard for you to like kind of find those plays. Some people are doing it, and like if you do, you deserve to be a millionaire, right?
I think this is like, I mean, I'm just going to share my screen for a bit because I've been shouting this shit from the rooftop.
Go ahead.
So basically, like my chain of thought is, I'll just wait till you've got my screen up, but
Switching over right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, got it.
You got it. Still seeing something else on KJ's, but
No, you're good.
yeah. So basically, my chain of thought is, all right. So if we think FBTC is bullish, we see like this massive inverse head and shoulder printing, and I think a lot of people they don't give enough weight to the volume of a head and shoulders. Like you want to, from what I've been taught, you want to see more volume in the head and the right shoulder than the left shoulder. And I think FBTC is a perfect example of this. It hasn't even broken out. We've already got more volume in the right shoulder. So the way I see it is it's like, all right, so we're bullish on FBTC. We think F is going to outperform Bitcoin. But then you go and look at a chart like ARV, and it's hard to know where ARV is going to go looking at its USD pair because it's in price discovery. It's already at all-time highs. So you're like, all right, where's ARV going to go? We're not sure. But if you look at it against something like ARV-F or ARV-BTC, it's already in a new uptrend. It's already broken out of these downtrends. It's making new highs. Like from what I understand, and this is why I'm super bullish on ARV, and not only because I've used ARV and I think it's great and it's a product that's going to do amazingly well, but from a technical perspective, I think this was an impulsive rise, this whole move back last year, and I think this next leg up is going to take us above there. So this against ARV-F, this is like from current levels, like a 70% move up, but we're already bullish on FBTC. So who knows where that's going to take the ARV USD pair? I think it could do multiple 100%. I think it could take it up to like $400-500. Like that's why I'm just getting super excited about ARV because I'm already bullish on it.
And that's still pretty like conservative market cap wise, right? Like for what it is, it's a working product. It's very composable with everything out there in DeFi.
Yep.
And look at the trash that has that 5 billion market cap right now. I think that's an easy target. I agree.
I mean, look at the ARV USD chart. It just goes up.
It's just such crazy
it's
performance.
Already in price discovery
Unreal.
right now.
Unreal.
And I think it's going to outperform F. And if I think F is going to outperform Bitcoin, then ARV USD is just going to fucking move. That's basically what's going through my head.
It makes it a
really
very
bullish.
good vehicle for your capital.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
I like it.
But yeah, I just had to share that because it gets me super excited.
It's pretty good. I like how you I did that too a bit on. I did a stream today in the dojo where I also was looking at BTC pairings and also at the Ethereum pairings occasionally. Like what could outperform both.
Charting against F in the next couple months is going to be baller. Like if you can beat F, you're going to do really well.
Yeah.
There's actually an interesting thing going on with FLTC. Like if you can bring that up, could you do that once? Like Ethereum USD and
LF
slash
Litecoin F, like LTC F.
So
Yeah, so
this is
oh,
basically like oscillating, right? Like they're a little bit on a rubber band that is increasing in velocity. And now the question is, can Litecoin do another like small cycle where it catches up again, or is it breaking that right now?
Well,
I was
Litecoin
looking
looked
at that.
a few weeks ago. Litecoin F looked really good, and I was like, yeah, I'm super bullish on Litecoin. But then FBTC just turned
Yeah.
and put in that huge week, and I basically kind of flip flopped, and I was like, all right, nah, fuck Litecoin off. I'm on F Maxi again. And yeah, I think F looks hectic now.
All right, so
But yeah,
we haven't
hopefully,
heard
you know,
from Xavi at
Litecoin's
all.
pretty-
Is Xavi still here? Xavi?
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
cancel. I'll close my screen, and one of you guys can stream.
No, not to cut you off, but I was just curious if he was still here.
Yeah, no, that's all good.
Okay.
Karen's Karen.
But I wanted to give Xavi a little chance to talk as well. If you had anything to discuss or anything you want to talk about.
I like the idea of what Blunt said at first, longing the mid perp, because I mean, I can share my screen. It's gonna be just one shot, but
And if you want to talk about stonks, go ahead. I mean, you don't. It doesn't have to just be crypto. And you know, I'm playing both. Obviously, heavily involved with crypto, but the stock market has been performing like crazy, and it's a lot of fun. And you know, I know Xavi spends a lot of time doing that as well. So I'm sure there are people watching that are interested in stocks also. So whatever you want to cover, and we can all talk about it. Sorry to cut you guys off. I just wanted to check on Xavi, see if he was still there.
Oh yeah, I'm down just to chat, man.
sure, no. But yeah, to
Gnosis, huh?
what
Gnosis.
that's Gnosis, right? And we covered this one 3 weeks ago with Stillman on our 2021 edition, crypto alt season, and you know, we observed that this coin, you know, came back very strongly from the lows in March, right, and did a 12x from 6 to 70, and you know, handled pretty well the summer crash, and resumed, right, and when every coin was still struggling in the lows, this one was already knocking at the door. So we predicted that this coin, you know, will do. There we go. I was wondering why. See, so this is all the tap strength, right? And then first target was 50%, and the second one, you know, 200, 300%, and that's like a mid cap. So I agree with what Ben said. It's like an easy play.
Mid perps
almost,
is a
right?
nice play. Yeah. And just I want to bring it up.
You guys know Ocado, yeah?
Who?
I'm sorry.
Ocado, yeah, of course.
Ocado was talking about Gnosis it would have been maybe like a month ago now, and he posted that massive flag that it was in. I put that on my radar, and I was thinking at the time, yeah, that's gagging for a monster breakout, and it's definitely started now.
You mean that flag basically, right?
Yeah, so it's like similar to F. Like for the people watching, if FBTC breaks out of the structure that it's in right now, it's got a very clearly defined resistance level. If it goes above that, you're going to see it on Twitter. People are going to start shorting, and like right away. The same way when BTC broke 20K, you saw a lot of people shorting right away. Like, don't be that guy. Like, it's spending so much time coiling up in this range that if it breaks out, the move is going to be significant. Just get in it, you know? The first chance you get, like, buy a dip, whatever, buy the breakout even. It's very easy to structure risk on a trade like that, and don't be scared. It's like a lot of people from 2017 that have re-entered the market, one of the hardest things for them to grasp is being okay with buying something that's going up. You know, it sounds kind of counterintuitive because obviously if they're rejoining the market and things are going up, clearly they're okay with buying it going up. But, you know, there's a big difference between taking a high percentage trade and FOMO. You know, like, don't be scared to buy it because it's going up.
Man, another awesome one. Maybe have a look at it on your chart, but check out FTT, but against the Bitcoin pair, FTT BTC. I think that's putting in a major low. The USD pair is already parabolic. It's already
The USDT pair never goes down, right?
That's why I'm like, I
just
think this can go
grinding.
to $20 because sure, you look at the USD pair and you go, oh, maybe I don't really want to long that. It's already up so much. But then you look at its Bitcoin pair and you're like, fuck yeah, this thing's going to pump.
Yeah, agreed.
All
And
right.
it's a very good example of investing in people.
Yeah,
Like,
FTT. Messiah
all the-
quietly
the
joined.
actors in
Messiah
the
is
space.
here, by the way. What's
Hey,
up,
guys.
bro?
Yo,
Hey,
Messi.
what's up?
You guys continue all good stuff going on. I'll wait till my turn.
Well, FTT is showing major divergences on many indicators on the daily here against
Love to
Bitcoin
hear
and just reclaimed the EMA after making a new high. I think there's room.
Yeah, I got a big bag of that. I'm excited. I think there's so many alts just setting up. They're Bitcoin pairs just setting up for major bottoms.
And that's basically right. That's the time where you stack sats. You don't get those very often.
Exactly. Very
Gotta
not
make
often at
gotta
all,
make
yeah.
use of it. I kind of got the feeling that Bitcoin, like even this cycle, might not even might even be given less opportunities to do so.
Well, as we speak, the dollar is going down, breaking down this.
Yay! Celebratory stream.
Thank God.
Yeah, we're in the
Thank
midst of like,
That's what
you
we
know,
want.
don't fight what's
Breaking down.
happening. You can't fight what's happening. Okay, guys? Like, just accept
Bull
it.
flag breaking down.
Yeah,
Bull flag breakdown.
accept it. All the fundamentals line up for this to continue. And when you look at it from a technical perspective, if you look at stock indexes, if you look at dollar, if you look at obviously Bitcoin and crypto overall market cap, like, you don't want to call the top on this move, you know? Like, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Obviously manage risk, take profit as it goes up, but you know, the reality is 2 years from now, 3 years from now, everything that you know will be more expensive significantly. And that includes probably Bitcoin as well. Unless it's in the midst of a bear market at that point, but you know.
Yeah, I just find it funny
Everything is
how,
being
you know, for
repriced.
so long everyone was parroting the same thing. You know, we're going to get these 20-30% pullbacks. They're going to happen. And then when it finally does happen, everyone just completely shits the bed and like flips their bias and sells the dip. It's like, we were talking about this for so long and now it's finally here. You change your opinion?
Yeah. You have to just buy
and
the dip until it doesn't work.
and
You know, that's it.
And also, Coinbase literally disabled the buy button, right? That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'm surprised the infrastructure on some of these exchanges still is dog shit, man. Like, it should be better by now.
I mean, okay, so if you want that 30% retracement, you literally need to disable the buy button. Okay, we got that.
All right. So
Yeah.
Xavi's digging into the bag. What do you got? What do you got, Xavi?
Oh,
I
great scale.
wanted to see how Grayscale reacted to the dip. Yeah, whatever. I did the same a few times already. I think we're due just for a little consolidation here, you know.
I mean, like the amplitude is higher right now, right? Like compared to previous moves, of course. But
what do you make of BTC? So basically, like when you look at BTCD, I'm going to steal this stream for a second.
Go ahead.
This is where I make the call for, all right, enter, basically buy alts now, like right now, because this trend line was the one that I was looking for. We took this out, and obviously we have price action above. As soon as it crosses this, it's like, all right, this is mad bullish, and obviously BTC being pumpy as fuck coincided with that. 73 was kind of the level that I was looking for. So we get there, you have sentiment, you have XRP dumping, BTC dumping at the same time. We make the play on that. Now, looking at where it is now, this BTC was around like, I believe 27K or something like that, or 30K, 29 maybe. It hadn't even hit 30 yet. And that's where we hit 73, almost 74. So we keep making higher highs on Bitcoin, or new all-time highs, yet BTC dominance keeps dropping. Do you find that implies even more confluence that alts are going to eventually,
Fuck.
right? Isn't that good? You know, like
Yeah, very good. Very good. It's like what we were dreaming
Okay.
about for years and it's finally happening.
So the people in the chat are complaining about the quality of the stream. I'm not sure why that would be. They're saying like, oh, yeah. Why is I don't know. I don't know why it's 480. It's quite strange. It shouldn't be. Not normally.
Oh, that's true. It's 480 for me too.
Yeah, why is that? Let me see. Like I noticed that my computer is acting really laggy, too. Like I don't.
I think it's because of Discord. I think it's Discord quality.
Yeah.
Could be chewing up a lot of RAM.
Yeah. So sorry about that. I'm not sure. And strangely enough, like my internet speed definitely seems to be lower than normal. So apologize for that.
I
I
don't
mean,
think it's your fault.
I can still make out the charts. It's not optimal, but it works for today.
Close Pornhub shooter. All right, so Masai, we were talking about Rook earlier actually because we were preparing to hear about it. I know it's something that you're very bullish on, and you know.
Yeah, you guys are going to be hearing about it nonstop, unfortunately.
Do you want to share your
Probably
screen?
for months.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure how to share my screen.
So I think if you click on the bottom under voice connected,
There's a
Oh,
button
yeah,
that
yeah,
says
yeah.
screen.
I see it now. Sure. Hold on just a moment. And let me make sure I have the right one. And, you know, I love you guys, unlike KJ, so I'm going to stream at 720p. You know, maybe that will
Burn.
that'll help everyone out.
I'm not sure why.
Yeah,
it's,
looking at a couple things, you know, I would suppose the first thing, you know,
Wait,
that
let me
everybody's
open up
addressing
yours.
would be Big Daddy Bitcoin. Or can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
I'm about to open it.
It's
I'm looking at the stream on YouTube. It's really not that bad. Fix it. Get the fuck out then. Don't watch, you motherfucker. Fuck you. If you don't like it, don't fucking watch. Suck my dick. Like,
Get him.
Get out of here. You don't
Yeah,
like it.
classic,
Fix the
classic
video
KJ
quality.
rant.
Shut the fuck up. I'm not doing this for my health. I don't need this shit.
So this is what I'm looking at right now. You know, and I believe I caught the tail end of somebody making a comment earlier that, you know, everybody had the plan the whole way up to buy that first 30% peak to valley move. And then when it came down to do it, you know, all of a sudden everybody is calling top, everybody is calling complacency, everybody's bearish. You know, when I don't see necessarily any reason for that. You know, the dollar is still fucked. It's still going down. And even with that being said, you know, I don't believe that, you know, of course the dollar going down, you know, helped Bitcoin out. I don't think it was the sole reason that Bitcoin fucking mooned. You know, people draw these comparisons constantly between 2017 and, you know, what we're doing now. And I don't necessarily believe that to be something that you can even do. It's the rally is totally different. You know, it's fueled by institutional buyers. And with that being said, you know, of course, I do believe we're going to have an alt season. And if there were a time to have an alt season, it would be while Bitcoin got its shit together right now. But I don't think it's going to be the same. To where in 2017, you know, of course, we saw this retail mania. You know, we saw Ripple going fucking nuts, Dogecoin going fucking nuts. I mean, really anything that was, you know, on any kind of centralized exchange worth its salt, mainly Binance, was going fucking nuts, right? Now this time, you know, there is an institutional interest in altcoins as well. You know, I don't think people necessarily realize that. But these guys are going to come in and they're going to want to put their money on the sector of crypto where there's momentum, there's rapid innovation, there's money, and that's DeFi all day long.
Yeah,
you know,
agreed.
I don't believe that this is a time, and sure, you know, a rising tide is going to lift all ships. That's how it always is. But I don't believe you're going to buy Dogecoin and you're going to bang out a 20x. I just don't think that's something that's going to be happening. So as Bitcoin gets its shit together, and you know, I've got this pulled up. You know, I use a lot of GAN fans in my trading. This one has played out extremely well, and I think it will continue to play out. You know, the question really becomes, and I really don't even like how I drew this trend line up here. What are we on, the hourly? That's fine. The question really becomes, you know, just how long is Bitcoin going to potentially consolidate? But even with that being said, if you remember, you know, people think it has to be one way or another. In previous alt seasons, or any kind of environment where altcoins are bullish, in a bubble, they moved with Bitcoin. But what really kicked off that rally was, you know, Bitcoin had that 30% PV move. Bitcoin got its shit together for, you know, a few weeks. Altcoins got really bullish then. And then when Bitcoin broke out again, you know, altcoins already had enough momentum to sustain and even kind of lean on some of that momentum that was being driven by Bitcoin. You know, if you think about it, the kinds of guys you look at, you know, Polychain, 3 Arrows, you know, these guys that are really running this shit in DeFi right now. You know, all of their buddies come to them and you know, other kind of institutional types like them, and they say, you know, what should I buy, guys? Well, you know, that's easy. My bags. You know, what does anybody else think about their bags?
That's right.
So, I mean, I think we can, you know, abstract that and on, you know, from, you know, me to the biggest pleb on CT, you know, to the biggest institutional guy. You're not going to recommend somebody buy something that you're not in. So I bet very, very heavily on a lot of these up and coming DeFi projects. You know, hoping to capture some of that potential unrealized value that's in this sector. And normally, you know, I'll do a lot of compounding and flipping and flopping. And I did a lot of that towards the end of 2020. But, you know, the positions that I'm in right now, you know, of course, if fucking Rook goes 5x tomorrow, I'll probably have to reevaluate that, because who wouldn't take, you know, advantage of a compounding opportunity like that? But the positions that I'm in are largely just things that I believe to be extremely undervalued. I have strong convictions about them, and you know, I plan on holding them until other people realize what I've realized.
So guys, let me ask, because
the-
Messi brings up a good point
Sure.
that I'm somewhat in alignment with, as far as, you know, this may not look exactly the same as 2017. Some of the things that I'm thinking about is, number one, you have obviously Uniswap, and DEXs in general are going to play a more significant role this time around. Clearly, Ether Delta, IDEX played a role, but Uniswap brings a different wrinkle to that, as well as so many more alts have USDT pairings, as well as the ability to trade these alts on leverage on both Binance, FTX, and other exchanges. Like, what impact do you think that has, and is there anything I'm missing that would also kind of give us a somewhat different result than what some people are expecting as far as 2017 replicating?
Well,
also, you don't have a million ICOs launching every month either. That's
don't.
something different as
There
well.
are a lot of different projects, though. You know, and with Uniswap, it kind of changed the game, because, you know, back in the day, you had to have this big raise. You had to, you know, pay the fee to get on Binance, or maybe just your raise is so fucking big and hype that they're going to list you anyway. To whereas now, you know, you can start a project and list it on Uniswap or list it on SushiSwap very easily. You know, it's blown open the doors for really anybody to be exchanged. So one of the things that I've heard a lot is, well, you know, as opposed to 2017, you know, now we're in an environment to where, let's say in 2017 there were, and of course these are just made up numbers, in 2017, let's say there was 1,000 different projects. Now there's 10,000 different projects. So some people have asked, you know, what do you really think? Because the liquidity isn't as concentrated, you know, as it was in 2017. There's so many more things that could pump. You know, what are your thoughts on that? And my thoughts are that while there are substantially, I mean, exponentially even more projects now than there were in 2017, and I don't see that trend changing. There's actually, in my opinion, very few or much fewer, at least percentage-wise, projects that represent real quality. And the game has changed here. In 2017, it was all about FOMOnomics. Hey, we're this project as an ICO to bring Princess Diana back to life. You know, holy shit, that's hype as fuck, bro. Let's
All
get
in,
in and let's
all
pump
in.
it. That's and you know what? That's really all it took back then. Whereas now, when you look at these projects, you know, of course the FOMOnomics still apply. You know, you want to be invested in something with a narrative that can be sold.
I mean,
And
Ethereum
that hasn't
Classic,
changed.
Ethereum Classic just pumped fucking hard, and I don't see any narrative as to why that should have
I don't see any narrative at
the
all,
market cap
other than, but
that it
they
has.
do have the Grayscale Trust narrative. But even with that being said, you know, Ethereum Classic's a fucking joke. You know, it requires like 1,000
Yeah.
confirmations to deposit on an exchange because the fucking shit keeps working.
Remember the Emerald Wallet pump. Emerald
Yeah,
Wallet's
it
coming.
keeps getting reorged. It keeps working. There's different criteria by which to judge quality in a project now. You know, one of those is token economics. And that's something that I realized a few months ago, of course, after MTA put it in my ass, was that for the first time, token economics matter a lot. You need to invest in things with solid token economics, you know, with emissions that are under control. You know, to where you can anticipate that future inflation, you know, what's on the market right now. All of those things play into this. In addition to that, value accrual is another big theme here. You know, you don't want a token that is truly a worthless governance token. And I know that meme has been perpetuated. You know, it all started with that initial post from Andre about YFI. This is a worthless ass token, right? Well, you don't want a token that's truly worthless. You want a token that has some value accrual. So the projects that I try to invest in are tokens that are just that, are tokens that I can stake them and maybe have a say in governance, but alongside having a say in governance, you know, I'm also getting fees from the protocol itself. It's almost representative of actual ownership in the protocol on some level. You know, aside from that, you've got to know, you know, look at the wallet distribution. I use Nansen.ai. DeFi Ted put me on them a few months ago. They have advanced analytics for the Ethereum blockchain, and I can look at who's in these fucking bags. You know, I can look at, is the top holder a fucking pleb? You know, I don't want to be there. Who's gonna pump this shit? I can look at, are whales selling at these levels? Are whales buying at these levels? You know what? It's basically just whale watching, and it reminds me a lot of in 2014, all of these exchanges had rich lists. You know, you could see who the top holders, not necessarily who they were, but you could see their holdings, and you could see when the whales were starting to take some off, when they were starting to add some back on, which it brings a whole new level of analyses to these you know shit coins that really just has never.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy to have that, you know, the ability to see what's going on.
You'd be shocked.
I think
about-
what's interesting is that while you have that, you know, increase in projects of like 2,000 to 10,000, it's actually also like by the criteria that you just named, it's also easier to make out the good ones if you know what you're looking for.
Yes.
So that's but not everybody will be able to do that. But if you've been around and you followed DeFi and you participated along the way, I think that's an important part of it, that you kind of understand how these things fit together and have some imagination about what can be built on top of them or by combining stuff.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. How the fuck do I ban somebody out of YouTube? This guy's pissing me off.
No idea.
He's really annoying. I just need to know the keys that I type to kick this guy the fuck out of my stream.
It is nansen.ai.
I want him out of here. He's bothering me. How? Nobody knows. I don't know how to. He's lucky I don't know how to do it. All right, throw him right the fuck out. I'm sorry to interrupt, Snowman, but it's very distracting because I'm trying to kind of see what's going on in the chat and help people. Because if people have questions, I want to kind of ask, you know, you guys. But at the same time, this guy's going, it's 480, it's 480. I don't know why the quality's bad. It's normally better. But
Whatever, man. Let
Yeah.
him. Let him complain. Like,
It's
yeah,
fair.
if he wants to
But
spend
he's
his
like
time all day.
he's spamming
if he
it.
wants to spend his time all day, spamming and complaining about the quality, other than listening to what's going on here, then more
I
power
just
to him.
want him out of here.
But
Bothering me.
it's
Okay,
to
yeah,
some-
so yeah,
to some
getting
point, not
back
only
to
is it going here, but there's much fewer projects that actually fit that criteria than you would
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah, I think that value accrual on the token, or at least like being able to speculate on that's a big one. Like I think you named YFI. I think another product that started that narrative with the governance token that might not stay a worthless governance tokens was Compound. When it pumped so hard on the first release, the speculation always was that once is quote unquote sufficiently decentralized, that the quote unquote community would just vote in some burn or fee share features basically. And yeah, I think if you're aware of stuff like that, you can write huge pumps. And if you find tokens, what I find interesting, like for example, I like NPH like you do. I like Octo because it has that value accrual in the token. And if you were the suit wearing 2017 ICO guy,
Like
you
me.
would not have been able to pull that off because the SEC would have come for you, right? But if you are an anonymous cypherpunk team, you can just do it, and it's a decentralized protocol and give everybody the fees. Why not? Right?
All right, Stillman, we
Yeah.
need you to talk about AMP
It's a
now.
feedback.
Stillman talks about
Let's talk-
AMP.
Yeah,
I want to hear about AMP,
I did want to
and
hear a
then
little bit
and then
about
I want to hear, and then Messiah can talk about Rook, and then we'll take some questions from the audience.
Let him talk about Rook
Okay,
first
yeah.
because that's closer to what we've been talking about, I think.
All right, Messi, you're up.
Well, Rook is interesting. As you guys know, I've been yelling about Rook since November,
Yep.
2020. There's been very, very few times in my crypto career, which has spanned many, 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 many years, where I just see something and it just makes my dick hard. Something where I see something and I don't know if you guys have the same thing, but I see it. And, based on my experience, it's almost like our brains are like machine learning algorithms, and we're just sitting there and we're just brute forcing our way to being better at it, through countless hours of watching the charts, looking at the fundamentals, checking out the, distributions, all of that kind of thing. And, I saw Rook, and I was a big Ren fan back in the day. I still am. Ren was
Ren's been
what
performing
kicked
well.
off my DeFi season. Ren and RSR. And, the CEO of Rook, what initially caught my attention was the CEO of Rook is also the CEO of Ren. And that's, I think, and probably, pardon me in my Alabama here, but I think it's pronounced Taeyang Zhang. I probably just fucking butchered that. So I'm highly doubtful he'll ever see this, but apologies. But that was the number one thing for me. Number two, there's so much shit that goes on in the background in the context of DeFi, in the context of the Ethereum blockchain that people don't understand is actually happening. We're talking about liquidations on chain. We're talking about front running. We're talking about arbitrage opportunities. There's all of this money to be made out there that's it's available in traditional finance. These people arbitrage between exchanges. The exchanges have engines that liquidate these things, et cetera, et cetera. But all of these things are actually present in DeFi too, and nothing had really been done to actually tap into all of that value. There's these people that are called keepers. And keepers are essentially the guys that carry out the liquidations, that carry out the arbitrage opportunities. They carry out all of these different things, when it comes to Ethereum. And all of this profit that's available out there on the Ethereum blockchain as a byproduct of volatility in the markets is referred to as MEV, or miner extractable value. So Rook is interesting because it's a game theory protocol. And the game theory relies on really three pillars. One of these pillars is the hiding game. One of the biggest issues with this is, you know, you have miners, right, who are privy to this information, that have priority access to these opportunities. And what these miners will actually do is they will capture all of this MEV for themselves. Now, another issue here is that just the way Ethereum works in general. You know, I'm sure you guys have seen instances to where you look at the fucking gas costs and you're like, holy fucking shit, you know, gas is, you know, what? Gas is fucking 500 GUI right now. Like, I can't even unstake my shit because I can't afford it. That's insane. I got to pay $100 to even unstake. Well, with Bitcoin, there's a maximum block size. Ethereum doesn't work that way. With Ethereum, there's a gas limit. And what this gas limit does basically is there's a priority gas auction that resolves the ordering of transactions within a block. You know, whose transactions happened first. Now that introduces the issues such as front running, right? But basically what happens is when people see this on-chain profit opportunity, it causes a gas war because they say, hey, I've got a chance to make $1,000. Yeah, I'll pay $100 to do that. And then another guy says, well, I'll pay $200 to do it. And then another guy says, yeah, I'll pay $300 to do it. All of a sudden, you know, we've hit the gas limit on that block and there's no more space for anything else because people have been bidding up the gas so high. So what Rook really at its core aims to do through, you know, the incentives game, the hiding game, and then the coordination game is to capture all of this MEV or miner extractable value, to have these keepers, you know, the guys that are capturing this value right now, but aren't making any money because of gas wars. You know, if there's $100 in profit to be made, they'll bid each other. They'll fight over it until there's no fucking money left. But what if everybody was able to work together instead? And rather than fighting it against each other, you know, and nobody making money, what if we all worked together and everybody made a lot more money? So the issue here is, in order to do that, you have to have coordination. So Rook has, you know, coordination built into the game theory. And then you have to be able to actually hide the miner extractable value on the blockchain from the miners who could just come in and take it from themselves anyway. You know, so Rook is developing or has developed these specialized contracts that hide that miner extractable value. And what people don't realize is the two biggest investors in Rook are Polychain and Three Arrows Capital. Now, guess who owns a lot of the fucking liquidity in DeFi? Well, it's these guys, right? Guess who is, you know, heavily invested, you know, has high voting weight in all of these different DeFi protocols? Well, it's these guys. So the idea here is that, you know, platforms like Aave, which I would believe is a shoe-in for, you know, tapping into the hiding game, you know, will channel this miner extractable value, you know, will tap into the hiding game and provide this value to the keepers that are participating in Keeper DAO, which is, honestly, it's huge. I think Rook is the biggest thing in DeFi, period. I think Rook will have a higher market cap than any other project in DeFi, Synthetics, Aave, whoever. And there's really nothing like it out there, which is, you know, something I like as well. But the main thing here is that Rook has, you know, a massive treasury that's been built up through arbitrage mining, you know, over a 3-month period in time. That actual arbitrage mining phase ends in about 2 weeks. You know, we're going to find more out about the hiding game, you know, all of those things towards the end of the month. Value accrual mechanisms to the token. You know, I do know in order to participate in the coordination game, these keepers, these guys that participate, are going to have to bond Rook to their actual keeper identity that they've registered with Keeper DAO. So that creates an immediate demand and a use case for Rook right there. You know, if you want to play ball, you're going to need Rook. And then not only that, but, you know, I would imagine through, you know, delegation and things like that, which the team has hinted at, there will be value accrual to the token as well, governance, all of those good things. And now a $10 million+ treasury at our disposal, you know, that we can use to vote on a number of different things.
that extracting arbitrage from the system is an extremely valuable thing. Like, it's ultra bullish. I agree.
And the
Really
idea
big
here, though, is if nobody else has access to these profit-taking ability or these profit opportunities, everybody works together on these profit opportunities. Everybody makes more money, and if you want to compete against Rook, they do this thing called grim triggering, which is basically the scenario that I described earlier, to where miners will bid, or not miners, but these keepers will bid on liquidations and such to make a profit, arbitrage opportunities and such to make a profit. And the issue here is that at the end of the day, nobody ends up making any money. Well, if you don't want to work with Keeper DAO, you're against Keeper DAO, and Keeper DAO will grim trigger you, which means anything you try to do on the Ethereum blockchain, they will immediately bid the gas up to a level to where you don't make any money, which is a fun thing.
People are literally aping
that
into
Keeper
Rook right
DAO
now.
is doing.
They're trying to save this out.
and like Ethereum is such a good hunting ground, because it's so, like, how arbitrage and utility / efficiency are inversely correlated. Like, there's so much arbitrage on Ethereum because it's so trash.
It's
Now this is
huge.
doing $1.
Yeah.
And one of the unique things about Rook, so imagine a protocol like YFI or something like that. Like, a lot of these value accrual protocols are only viable in a bull market, right? Because when the crops get rotten, as we saw at the end of the year, in 2020, I would say, especially November or whatever, the crops get rotten, the yield goes away, and nobody's making any fucking money here. Rook is unique in that Rook makes money on volatility. Volatility creates these MEV opportunities. Volatility breeds MEV. So Rook, if the market, fucking nukes one day, Rook as a protocol makes a shitload of money. If the market moons one day, Rook as a protocol makes a shit ton of money. So it's unique in that regard as well.
I only learned about them recently, but that sounds like Rook could be Ethereum's Renaissance technologies.
I think so as well. And, I think people are constantly asking, what's the next YFI, quote, in a manner of speaking. And I will confidently say that the next YFI is Rook.
Yeah, it had a nice 50% dip, peak to trough as well. So
Yeah, with everything yesterday, right?
I'd
Which
Yeah.
is like, I picked up more MPH on that dip.
So I was looking at the Rook chart meanwhile Messi was talking about it, and it actually got very close to a level that makes sense for me.
KJ, check out. Sorry to interrupt, but check out
Yeah.
beta.dex.vision. The chart is a little cleaner there. ChartX offers.
Yeah, I didn't like what it was doing.
In terms of a selection, but if you look at beta.dex.vision,
I'm
I
on
think
it.
that you'll find that the charts are a bit cleaner.
Let me see if I can find it. All right, so I'm looking at Rook versus USD. I'd have to redo it, but basically, when it lists, you have the initial pump goes up to a high of about 238 approximately. Then you make a bull flag out of that, which it then breaks out of, takes out, makes a new all-time high at 260. I was looking at this 150 area. I have it charted here, so I'm not gonna do it again, but I will use that one going forward. But just because while you were doing it, I was charting Rook. This level, like around like 130-ish, made sense for me. Obviously with Uniswap, you have like a little bit more wicks, as the price action isn't as clean, but all the same kind of staples of TA still apply, obviously. But
I will say, so, all of the price action that has already happened on Rook, I don't put too much weight on it. This arbitrage mining phase, just to quickly explain, because I understand I can be long-winded, but what this arbitrage mining actually is that every single day there's approximately 1,550 Rook that are distributed to keepers that are donating money essentially, or giving their profits to the Rook Treasury. So if you look, and let's say, on a particular day, $200,000 comes into the Rook Treasury.
Right.
Well, at the end of the epoch, you take that $200,000, you divide by 1,555, and fuck, I messed that up. 200,000 divided by 1,555, which would give a mining cost of Rook in that instance of $130 approximately. So, like Bitcoin, there's an actual cost to mint these Rooks during this phase. Now, the appeal of doing that is that the market is going to be trading at a premium to that mining price, much like Bitcoin. So that almost establishes a floor of sorts for the Rook price, because you can count on these keepers taking advantage of the arbitrage offered by the spread between the market price and the price they pay for their Rook. Some of them are holding it for the future. Some of them are taking advantage of that spread. This all ends in
The floor is like
approximately
60
2 weeks.
bucks.
Yeah, well, for the longest time, the mining cost was around $60.
Yeah.
The mining cost has gone up significantly since then because there's more competition, a lot more money coming into the treasury. There's been days when the mining cost is 190. There's been days when the mining cost is 170. There's been days when it's 130. But the mining cost hasn't been $60 for, I would imagine, probably 2 weeks. There's a lot of anticipation. This initial distribution of Rook is ending at the end of this month. And moving forward, there's still going to be inflation, but Rook has actually been, looking at the chart, Rook has been hyperinflating for the past 3 months.
So if you look, if you can open up YouTube, because I have the chart open, I just want to give my 2 cents. And this is from somebody that has no technical information, fundamental information in regards to Rook.
Sure,
I'm just like looking at the chart. So from like the beginning of November, you have an accumulation range. That's a very clear range. The base of that range is approximately $7, and the high is around $60. You get some wicks above, but for the most part, $60 seems to be the level. And this is just to show people that like FA and TA can also put you in the same place, right? So it keeps trying to break above this level. It finally does. And if you look on the hourly resolution right here, when it does finally break, it retests. This retest holds, okay? So you're breaking now above 60. It runs it up all the way to 120. So when you break out of a range, and this is only hourly, so keep in mind, this isn't like weeks and weeks. This is a couple weeks. But it spent a week, 2 weeks in this range, breaks out, and then it 2Xs right off the bat. But at that point, a lot of guys are buying up here over $100 and whatnot. Those guys get fucking wrecked because then it retests this level one more time, and that holds. So both of these retests, when it breaks above, would imply bullishness. Typically, if you don't get the retest, like you don't need to kind of FOMO in up here. You can buy the breakout and keep your stop like somewhat below. You give it a little bit of room, but keep in mind, almost always you're going to get a retest. So you got another one here, goes to 63. This one goes to 62, and then you break out and make the all-time high at that point in time. So that's bringing you to like 235. Then we zoom out. This is a bull flag that takes longer. You spend a longer time, and within that bull flag, it also creates another range where your general top area that you can get wicks above, but we didn't really get any closes above for the most part, is around 130. And your low is the $60, as Messi was talking about. That was kind of like the bottom of the mining. So like if you're, let's say you're fundamentally involved and very bullish on this project, it doesn't hurt to understand price action, because if you do that, you can look at this and say, okay, I want to be buying towards this line, not this line. And the mistake a lot of people make is every time it gets up here, they go, oh, this is the time it's going to break out, and they buy, and then it goes right back down and retests the bottom of the range. So in ranges like this, clearly it sounds simple, but this is support, this is resistance. You want to buy this, you want to sell this. Once it breaks out, and from this diagonal, you can see that at this point in time, you should start paying attention, because it's now it's starting to become on the outside or the bullish end of that diagonal. You still get rejected again, but it curves up and breaks out. This is, yeah, I'm having problems with my computer. That's why the resolution's so shitty. But basically, this cluster that I circled right here, this is your sign that this is going to take a new trajectory and break out and make a new all-time high. Because this whole time you were unable to get any price acceptance above it. Now you make this little mini price structure here. As soon as this breaks out, and this, if you look, the bottom of it is the resistance for this whole range, which is like 130. So this has now become support. Tests it twice, and it makes a little mini resistance here at 150. As soon as that breaks out, you're never down. And look, it retested again here. But as soon as it breaks this little guy here, you're going to go to 260, right? So now what we're seeing is this is retested. Remember, like I said, it gives you a chance like to get back in. So this retest, you could have bought that, right? That's nearly a 2x trade. And now it looked like it was heading towards the top of this structure, like 150. That's a nice psychological round number that you could have seen it bounce. But Messi started talking about Rook, and the next thing you know, it pumped from 155 to 170. So that might have been it. But from like
well, it hit the mining floor.
Yeah,
From a
TA perspective, like if this structure breaks out, then yeah, 100%. Like I wouldn't fade this one bit. It looks quite bullish.
Though. Actually, and I've been encouraging people to do this in an alt season. We especially want to look at pairings, versus Ethereum, pairings versus BTC, because we want to see how those perform. Now, look, Rook is actually not liquid versus USD. It's I understand a lot of people look at that, and that's important. But Rook is liquid versus Ethereum. If you look at the Rook Ethereum chart, you'll see that Rook has really not been doing anything. It's been tracking Ethereum. So I would imagine, a lot of those technicals are reflections of what Ethereum has been doing, rather than what Rook itself.
Fair point. Basically, it's the same chart, but it has yet to break out. So
could you flip it back to my screen for a moment?
Absolutely.
So I can point something out that I've been watching.
Yep, you're on.
Okay. So this is the Rook chart versus Ethereum, and it's on TradingView, and I'm doing it on TradingView because you can chart Uniswap shit on TradingView for a select number of things. I think they have to be top 100 or something like that. Not 100% sure, but why not? One of the things that TradingView allows you to do is apply a volume-weighted average price to the entire history of what you're looking at, rather than just on a day-by-day basis, as what's offered to you by ChartX or Dex.Vision. And if you look at this VWAP right here, and I'll just clear these lines off the chart so it's a little easier to see. I know it's maybe a little difficult on YouTube, but if you look at this VWAP right here, this VWAP has acted as a resistance level, and now this VWAP is potentially acting as some degree of support as well. You see that the price wants to stay above the VWAP. So this is what I'm watching, really. It's, Rook's performance versus the US dollar. You look at it and it looks fantastic, but realistically, what's really going on here is the performance is very similar to Ethereum.
It's keeping pace.
In the grand scheme of things, you really haven't outperformed Ethereum by much at all. But that's been a positive. Rook looks great right now because a lot of things have been dumping versus Ethereum. So they haven't captured that same level of upside that Ethereum has. With the end of this arbitrage mining coming in 2 weeks, I'm watching this VWAP level, and I really, really want to see some strength above the all-time volume-weighted average price to dictate that, yes, now it's time to go ahead and get in this shit and see us actually outperform Ethereum. I think right here.
I think if you look at the USD chart and what it did structurally, it looks very similar. It looks like it's just moving ahead of Rook/ETH, wrapped ETH or whatnot. So like that line you have drawn right there around 0.21 approximately, if you're going to get a break above a little mini structure that now uses that level as support, and you get some closes above it, that would be a signal to me to enter this now. That's what I'm looking for, and I have a lot of respect for your analysis and just you as a guy in general, someone that's been around and spends time, like basically devotes a majority of your life to helping other people and being involved in communities. It's very admirable, and that's why I appreciate everybody on this chat, because not for nothing, it's not easy to spend hours and stream and do these things, like for somebody that's you have a family, you have a wife, and you got kids and shit. It's a sacrifice.
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people don't realize that. I don't have any kids yet, but streaming is, and I know, I love streaming, and it's something I love doing for the people that watch it, and I appreciate everyone that shows up and checks me out every time I'm on.
Yep.
But that shit is exhausting.
It's not easy.
Really
it's not easy. It's not easy. And then I have 3 boys. I have 3 kids. And then, like, if I spend 3 hours streaming and then I come into the bedroom and my wife has now put the kids to sleep by herself and, wiped everybody's ass and brushed the teeth, like, no matter what, she knows what I'm doing is good. But at the same time, as soon as I come in, she's not the happiest with me. Like, it's not like I'm coming into the room and she's like, whip your cock out now. I'm so horny. Like, I'm getting like a shitty look, and like, it's not great. So
30-year-old problems.
Yeah,
I'm tired. I don't want.
I make sacrifices.
I feel you on that, man.
So I think we spent enough time on Rook.
A lot of people in the chat, seem to want to talk about MPH.
Yeah.
So
MPH,
Stillman, do you want to take the reins on that? I think you said you were a fan as well.
Stillman's asleep. Keep in mind, Stillman's on the other side of the pond, so it's probably like
sorry,
like 5 in the morning.
I wanted to talk about Flexa, actually, about AMP.
Oh yeah. I wanted to hear about that. Let's rock.
So
Right,
what I like about
you want me to
that,
give it...
so let me share my screen real quick as well.
Does Ben or Xavi or Stillman have any gems? No one wants my gems. Well, fuck you.
Except your wife.
Yeah, That's a gem. Yep.
I like, I like cream, but I like ARB as well. So I suppose I like cream just because it's a lower cap version of ARB.
So obviously, AMP has not been strong against Ethereum at all. But this is a very high RR level, in my opinion, for it at the moment. Like, it does the very extreme version of KJ's horseshoe right here. Divergences are going on.
On a lower time frame, on a lower time frame, it's probably a bull flag too off the bounce.
Here, this one, right?
Yeah. I like that. That if you're gonna take risk, that's where you take it. To be honest.
Yeah.
And you give it a little bit of room.
Ethereum.
Give it a little bit of room.
And then the USD chart is just straight up bullish, but that's true for a lot of stuff in crypto right now. So yeah, that's the technicals of it. The BTC chart doesn't look too great.
Hold on. Is that the same chart? What was I looking at? What's this? The one that you have in the background.
This is the same. This is AMP against the dollar. The other one was AMP against Ethereum.
What?
So what Flexa network is, and this is like not a low cap play at all. This has a good amount above 200 million market cap at the moment. What this is it's a payment network, and the AMP token used to be the FXC token. The Flexa token is meant to be collateral in that network. So it's a token that's created to be collateral on a settlement layer. And what makes me so bullish about this is that, like, several things, like stuff that Messi already listed. Like, is there value accrual to the token? Yes, there is, because if you provide your AMP as collateral to one of the wallets, then you actually earn part of the fees. And the other thing is that there is a like almost all of the circulating supply is currently being staked in those wallets as collateral, being provided as collateral, and there's still a good amount of overhead of until we reach the total supply. But once that's there, then the only way that this payment network can expand to accommodate more volume is by price appreciation of the token. Like there is just no other way. And these guys, they are set up pretty well. They are partnered with Gemini. Like Flexa is actually at the moment the back end of the Gemini wallet, which a lot of people don't know. That's why occasionally the Winklevoss twins tweet about it. And they have the bit license. They are holders of the bit license in New York, which is a very, very rare thing for any crypto project, or like even bigger, larger exchanges had a very, very tough time acquiring that. And they are partnered with is it MPC or NPR network?
NCR, no? NCR, I think.
NCR, who are the biggest provider of point of sales terminals in the world, and they're the direct partner for Flexa. So what Flexa does with the collateral token is basically you can pay in any kind of cryptocurrency, including all kinds of stable coins. And the settlement layer makes it so that the payment is instantaneous. And like part of my thesis is that in the future, when we get the central bank digital currencies, that this could be one of the major points where the two ecosystems, like the sovereign currency system and the crypto system, could connect, and that would be pretty huge. And it also ties into an idea that Xavi and I have been discussing for some time now, where the market cycles in crypto that we have been observing over the past more than a decade might be morphing into something else, where we stop doing that, basically like what Bob Lucas calls the 4-year cycle, the 4-year journey, where we could be morphing that structure into something else, which would be an adoption cycle. And Flexa falls into the category of adoption plays. Like in my opinion, it's one of the best adoption plays out there. Like payment networks, Xavi just pointed that out in the Sunday call. Payment networks are just bullish. Like as the economy grows and as it gets more digitized, payment networks reap the benefits. And yeah, this is pretty strong. And one last thing about the token that I found pretty amazing is that there is no equity in Flexa. Like the company, like the team doesn't hold any equity in the company. It's all just the decentralized networks. All they hold themselves are tokens. Obviously, a lot more than I would ever be able to acquire. But still, like that shows me that the tokens are actually meant to capture the value that's growing on that protocol. So yeah, that's why I'm so bullish on AMP. Bullish like crazy.
Yeah, but Stillman's bullish on crazy. Yeah.
Huh?
I didn't know that about Gemini. That's pretty fucking huge.
Yeah, like currently the APY you get for doing that is mostly supported by rewards by Flexa. I think that probably the whole like Gemini payment wallet is, like in volume terms, still pretty underwhelming. But I think in the future, when you actually see crypto payments working, and maybe you remember like Consensus 2019, we had those big headlines like, oh, BTC is now accepted at, I don't know, 19,000 merchants worldwide, stuff like that. That was all Flexa, actually. You know, that the actor behind those news. That was their system going live.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would just add that basically their partnership with NCR, the payment group, already provided them access to more than 30,000 shops and brands in the USA. So basically, since already it's been more than a year, you can already go to Whole Foods or Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, tons of place, and already pay with the Flexa network, and it didn't require these shops, these businesses to acquire new hardware, right? It's all already included within the current software and hardware, and it's just a parallel network that replaces the current payment system mafia, right? This 12-step, everybody gets a cut between Visa, the banks, the license, who has the right for what not. And obviously it's very centralized, and that's why it's so fast. But everybody gets a cut, and eventually the businesses have to pay from 3 to 5% fees, right? And right now using crypto, we squeeze all these 2 steps. It's just write the blockchain, and the fee is just 0.5. So this number means that businesses are going to save billions of dollars and are going to want you to pay with Flexa, right? And I'm talking like Costco, Walmart, like this is where it's going, in my opinion, because they're going to save a lot of money. And
Yeah, they're actually already partnered with Shopify actually for online payments.
right. And
How do they manage the volatility of the coin though?
They don't like the.
So let me finish that thing. Is that basically, and as Stillman mentioned just earlier before me,
Sorry.
the token accrued in value, also in a way that this 0.5 fee that the businesses are going to pay in Flexa are going to be used to market buy the token and provide the API to the stackers. I mean the people providing the collateral. So basically, you have a share in the payment system of the future. Now this market cap is below, it's like 250 million, right? Something like Visa is 500 billions, even 600 billions, right? 1% of Visa will be a 5 billion market cap. And it's not just Visa out there. You have Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, Stripe, Square, tons of them, right? The market cap and the payment system market cap valuation out there, it's in the trillion, right? When you sum up all of them. And I'm just talking Visa right now will be 500. 1% of Visa is $5 billion. That's already 20x for the token right now, if it manages to capture that value. And I think it can. I think it could.
All right, so we've been going for about an hour and a half. It's flying by. I'm having a blast. But I did promise the people that they would get a chance to potentially interact with us. And obviously we're going to have to keep it short. But I think like if you guys have questions and you want to jump on voice, if you're in the lounge right now, like start to type and let us know who wants to talk. We'll continue to chop it up, but you know, if anybody within the room wants to the opportunity to talk, like speak now, or else you're gonna be asked out.
I got to bounce, man, but it's been good. Fucking,
Blunt's been sitting there. Thanks so much for coming on. Really love what you had to share. Obviously, always a pleasure.
No
We got to do it again soon. It's been too long.
All right, no worries.
Let's do it again. Guys. I like it. Have a good one.
See ya.
All right. So meanwhile, we're waiting to see if any of the people within the chat want to talk. I think the crowd really wants to see MPH, or hear about it rather. I'm gonna pull the chart up. Stillman, you bought, or unless you want to share yours, I think you probably already have a chart worked.
Yeah, I got one.
You want to pull yours up? Because I know you bought the
not,
dip on it the other day.
It's not super exciting. Actually, ChartX deleted it again.
Hey.
Let me.
I think it's better to actually look at MPH through the lens of the Ethereum pairing.
Yes, that's true. Do you wanna share your screen real quick again?
Messiah?
Yeah, I could
Stop
do that.
sharing mine.
Look, TA is something that can be applied, arguably, regardless of, a market cap, right? For me, MPH is a purely fundamental play. I look at it. It has all of the things that I was talking about. It's got a unique use case in being the only fixed rate product in DeFi. Now, one of the interesting things about MPH, and I'll just explain this very quickly so you can understand.
The bonds or
Yeah, if you look at my screen right now, you'll see that there's all sorts of different fixed rate opportunities. So let's say I have some SUSD. Well, as I said earlier, like this yield isn't going to be here forever. I mean, a 10% rate is fantastic, right? And maybe I can zoom in on this just a bit so people can see it. But a 10% rate is really, really nice. I can actually lock in this fixed rate for the next year. And MPH, 88 MPH is going to supplement that fixed rate with MPH rewards to make it even more attractive on top of that. But we start getting in an environment to where we have a bear market or something like that. That's going to be a fucking problem because the yield's going to go away, and those amazing interest rates that you've gotten acclimated to are going to go away. So if I can come in right now, I've got a bunch of money. I want to lock in that fixed rate. I can go ahead and lock it in for the next year, and I'm Gucci, right? I can go ahead and I can get my money. I can guarantee that I get that money. Now, you may be asking, how does MPH actually manage to do this? Well, if I was to just go lend out my SUSD and Aave directly, I would be getting what's called a variable rate. That rate fluctuates up and down. One day it might be 15, the next day it might be 2. It's all based on supply and demand for the actual asset that's being supplied on Aave as collateral. So there is an advantage into locking in a fixed rate. Now, the interesting thing here is the floating rate bonds component to this protocol. What these floating rate bonds actually allow you to do is to go leverage long on interest rates in protocols. For example, here, I can come in and for an estimated ROI, now this could change, if we go into a fucking mega alt bull and interest rates go crazy and everybody's making a ton of money farming, then I'll earn even more money. But I can come in right now and I will have an estimated ROI of 21% on up to, if I want to buy all of the debts to fund, $62,000. Now, how this actually works is I will pay $62,000 to the protocol for the rights to earn interest on, and you can see this right here, $1.2 million of HUSD on Curve. So that actually is being leveraged long on the interest rate itself, because even though I'm paying $60,000, over the next 314 days, I will be entitled to the interest on $1.2 million, which is interesting. You really haven't been able to speculate on future interest rates before in the past, which is really cool. Now, another really interesting thing about MPH is that I can actually come in and I can stake my MPH, and I'm entitled to 100% of those protocol fees. Now, protocol fees generated from, actually pulling your liquidity out of these fixed rate interest pools, entering them, any kind of the activities that go on in this protocol generate fees, but also these farming rewards that are generated from the assets that are deposited on the platform itself. And one of the interesting things about this is that it's actually paid out in DAI, which is really interesting. So you've got that value accrual mechanism right there.
And it's not additional selling pressure on the token. Like, in
Right.
the past, you oftentimes had, for example, like the masternode meme, where you get those rewards, but it's basically a game of chicken about who sells first.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's 100% like that. One of the really interesting dynamics about this token economy is that, when these people that are deposited into these fixed rate pools, when their term reaches maturity, they actually have to pay a percentage of this MPH APY back to the protocol to actually claim their deposit back. So that generates, an inherent demand for the token itself. And as Stillman said, we're getting protocol fees and farming rewards from other protocols that we're selling off and paying ourselves DAI for. So there's no selling pressure here, from these guys really on the MPH token. What a lot of people will do is they'll come stake, get an MPH reward. So this whole reward, this 23%, only vested over 7 days. Now, if I was to take out a year fixed rate position on this, and I was to withdraw my money before my term ended, I would have to pay back 100% of the MPH rewards that I received over those 7 days to go ahead and withdraw before my maturity date. So if I had sold them or gotten rid of them or done anything with them, I would have to purchase them back at market to get my money back. But if I waited out throughout the entire term, I might only owe 30% of those back. And all of those rewards go to a treasury that will be governed by MPH stakers. Now, the yield on actually staking MPH isn't so great right now. You can see it's only 4.42% a year. But really, in my experience, if you do want to generate massive returns on anything, you have to buy, and you have to bet big while no one else is betting.
Absolutely.
And then you have to fucking hold on, because
that's so similar to Flexa. So
Yeah.
if you going, I mean, this also is an adoption play, right? Like, there is some speculation. Obviously, you will ride the wave and everything, but the reason why this could work is that it is actually a working, complex financial product on the blockchain, right?
Absolutely. And similarly to Ren, this is something that may perform quite well during a more attractive.
I was actually, yeah, to Rook. Yeah, I was actually wondering about Ren, because it's been acting rather weak lately, like weaker than the others. Do you think that's because the whole BTC tokenization sector has become a bit more crowded?
It's extremely crowded.
Yeah.
You have Keep, which is TBTC. That's what you meant. Of course, everybody's competing with WBTC. That's wrapped Bitcoin, which is a custodial solution. And now you also have Boring DAO, which I think is going to allow you to mint OBTC through a bidirectional tunnel governed by Bohr holders. Bohr actually has fantastic token economics as well. Something I've been eyeing for a bit, but I don't have a position in yet. But the space is quite crowded. Now, one of the things about Ren that people don't realize is, Ren isn't just a product for, decentralized wrapping and decentralized custody of assets, non-Ethereum native assets on the Ethereum blockchain. Ren's actually a lot more than that. Ren is based on Ren VM, and that's the value proposition there. And Ren VM can do all sorts of different privacy-related computations for Ethereum, and that gives it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, even before the Bitcoin, like the Wrap Bitcoin thing became big, their main selling point was like providing dark pool liquidity for crypto, right? Which is a very, very valuable thing in traditional finance.
And I think what actually happened was they saw the wave coming. They saw that there wasn't a decentralized custodial solution for wrapping Bitcoin and other assets onto the Ethereum blockchain, and they pivoted to where their flagship product was this Ren BTC, and now there's all sorts of different Ren BLAs, probably Ren LTC, I think there's a Ren ZEC. They're tokenizing all sorts of things in Ethereum, but that's not the only value proposition for Ren. One of the main things about Ren is that Ren hasn't moved out of its chaos net, I don't believe. There's still, the custody is still kind of centralized, which is interesting, but a lot of people have actually speculated, and it doesn't take much to connect these dots here. But when you think about what Ren VM is capable of, right? Private computations, it's multi-PC, multi-party computation. And then you look at the hiding game for Rook, which is going to be hiding this MEV from miners and other keepers, to allow the keepers and keeper DAO to capitalize on that. It does make you wonder, hey, the Ren CEO is the same guy who's the CEO of Rook. You know,
Mhm.
maybe there's something to that. You know, maybe Rook is going to be leveraging Ren VM. Um, so it's just all speculation at this point. Very similarly to the Ren team, because I was a Ren bag holder for a year and a half. These guys didn't hype up anything. You know, any kind of information that you would learn from them was about some shit that was really badass. They weren't gonna hype it for months before it happened. Just one day, you were on Telegram and you were like, "Yo, that's fucking sick." You know, thank you for the news release. That's dope. Rook has been the same way. These guys have been extremely tight-lipped about what they're actually doing and what they're working on, when it's coming out, and it's frustrating for a lot of these new investors because a lot of these new teams are so involved in these AMAs and getting this outreach done and all that. But you know, Rook is just fucking guys, hardcore devs fucking cranking out code. That's really it. Exactly what it is. That's exactly what Ren was too. So I do see a lot of parallels there, but it's causing a lot of people a lot of anxiety. We've been told there's a lot of news coming at the end of the month, but people hate waiting for news. We're in an environment where everything's moving so fast that you expect there to be something coming out every 3 days.
Yeah, I try to avoid
know,
that.
I
I hate
mean-
that.
I
I hate
mean-
when you have the tease of news is coming, because you can tell there's people that jump on and they get very impatient, and it ends up capitulating, and then the news comes. So like whenever I'm around a coin that's like people are like kind of whispering about news is coming, I keep an eye on the chart and I watch for like somewhat of a capitulation, max pain type scenario, and then I buy it. And
Yeah.
you're
I mean,
fine.
if you
That's
if
when
you
the news
if,
comes.
if you look at the AV and SNX charts before they started to 100 200x, that's a long time of boredom.
Yeah,
Like they were just flatlining for
they
a
take
long while.
time. Yeah,
Most
people
people
are
aren't
like,
built
oh
for
yeah,
that.
yeah, no,
Most people aren't built for that. I mean, as I've always said, though, when you find a winner like a Ren, back in the day, like an RSR back in the day, like a Rook. Now, excuse me.
Well, if we look at RSR,
We're
RSR,
already saying RSR back in the day as if it was
We
like
talked
3
about
months
I mean,
ago.
it
RSR.
feels like 20 years ago, doesn't it?
yeah. So
It feels so long ago. But the
I
point
got
is
I
that
got I got scammed in fucking pre-sale from them.
that shit was so obvious, though. What if somebody came to you right now and they said, "Hey, man, this thing that you have right now is going to at least 10x. All you have to fucking do is ignore all the noise everywhere else, ignore any flood that comes up, any hype that comes up, ignore everything. Sit on your fucking hands, and in the next 2 years, you're going to be able to 10x your money." Surprisingly, most people can't fucking do that. They can't.
But
You know?
also, I mean, like sometimes when you're looking at like different assets and so many different charts, you can find stuff that's like you don't have to sit for 2 years and wait. You can get on it like a little bit higher, albeit, but at the same time be in profit right away. Like if you're able to identify the price point or the structure that will bring you like upside immediately. You know what I'm saying? So like the
100%. And I
same thing that
appreciate
you're
that.
saying, like when I'm looking at
You're a
RSR.
trader. I'm a professional bag holder. It's a bit,
Well, they both work, right? Like you obviously,
Of course.
it's obviously working for you.
there's huge edge to both, and it's obviously working for you guys.
And
so.
that doing it that way is way less stressful, frankly. I'm in some things that I just don't give a shit. Like I just know like eventually this is going to be higher than what it is when I'm buying it here. So like part of it is, doing that, but at the same time like you can also be strategic about it. Like when we look at RSR, this is just going down, but this is the market maker on Huobi taking everybody's coins. And once he has all of your coins and you've all sold the bottom, now he can do whatever he wants with it. But as soon as it breaks out, and like disregard this trend line, I'm just drawing it very like kind of blankly, but if you guys have been watching the whole stream, we just talked about Rook, not too different here, right? You have this, we'll draw this differently, but basically this is a clear structure above this trend line. Now we have support in a place that we hadn't had support in a very long time. So your chances of upside here are very easy. So like you play this, your stop is like down here or something, pops up, hits this level. When you look on a lower time frame, this level actually made a ton of sense. Like this blue line was here for a while. So up here I'm like kind of cautious, but then you make another bull flag, breaks out again, makes this same kind of structure above the area that had been resistance for months, 3 months, spent 3 months consolidating in a range, puts in this structure right below this blue line. As soon as it pops up, like this was, I literally like went on a call. This was on a Friday, and I said, everybody, like RSR is about to get crazy bullish, like right now. Like I don't care what you're doing, like, and they're like, well, is it too late to buy? Is it too late? And this is what I meant by like, don't be uncomfortable buying something that's going up if you're doing it for a reason. You know, this didn't just pump. It's not like some random pump. It's pumping and it's putting in an extremely bullish structure above resistance. And after consolidating in a second bull flag. So the implications of this breakout is new all-time high. And clearly it just takes that out, goes completely parabolic. And somebody who entered right here, this is June 2020, within, what's that, 3 months, it goes from 50 sats approximately to 250. So you do a 5x in 3 months. The guy that's holding in here, you could have been waiting since 2019, June till August 2020. So you may have been in it for a year and you made more money. You know, you did a 10x, but I prefer to be like entering stuff that's on the cusp. So like when you're talking about Rook on the USD side, it did something pretty clear, and now it's doing a wave kind of similar to this, or it could potentially be in this. So if you look at, and we'll compare Rook. And I know we like Rook versus the F pairing, but, and I haven't, frankly, I don't have Rook, and I haven't looked at the chart at all. So just to be transparent, but as Messiah was talking about it, I was looking at it just to see what was going on with the chart, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Give you guys a little pointer on structures, but like basically you have your bull flag. It's obviously happening way quicker. I don't know. It got rid of my chart because I had charted this earlier, but basically this is your structure that it ends up retesting, and now we're in this wave where if this breaks out, this has implications of like something very strong. And being that Messiah is so bullish on it fundamentally, Stillman obviously also has given it some interest as well. And you know, if I'm liking what I'm hearing, I'm watching to see if this guy breaks out, because if this guy breaks out, you're basically here, right? So this is the second bull flag. This was the first consolidation. You have the little structure here. Now it's putting in this guy. On Rook, you have the same thing, right? So it looks kind of similar, obviously.
KJ, I'm going to change your life. You know, I saw you drag that over to the left, you know, when the scale got all fucked up on you.
Yeah, how do I do
Maybe
that?
you already know this, but, you know, if you
No, clearly I don't.
adjust that axis on the right on the chart, then it won't auto scale. Like if you go over to the right on that Rook chart, for example, and you click where all the numbers are on the right and do anything, just drag it up or down a little bit, go all the way to the right.
Oh, yeah, that did change my life. Yep, thank you. Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, so much better.
You're welcome. Yeah. It's funny because somebody just told me about the snap tool like 3 months ago, and the magnet tool, and that changed my life.
So let's look at this.
So
now.
you could be looking at these things for years, you know, and never realize that they're there.
So we look at this compared to this. So flag, structure, a larger shockwave here that breaks out and then brings you like a crazy parabolic advance. Quite similar. If Rook is able to get above 250, I mean, sky's the limit for this thing. And, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of getting off topic, but I wanted to also...
No, that was a good comparison, though. Like, I can totally see, like, the second degree, like, the second escalation stage bull flag, and then the structure on top of it. Although this is, like, the amplitude on the Rook one is larger a little bit. Like, it's very, very volatile. But still.
Definitely. Oh, shit. But just some people in the chat asked, they wanted to know about RSR, as well as the good, bad, and the pumpy series. So I had launched that series. We did RSR, we did HBAR, and Bitcoin took off. BTC dominance obviously took off with it. And I was busy trading BTC. The market's going crazy. And I'm like, you know what? It's not a good time to do alt videos right now. I wanted to wait for BTC to calm down. I think we're in a good spot. And if you caught the beginning of the stream, we kind of talk about that. But I feel way more comfortable doing some videos and discussing alts and kind of trying to get you guys into stuff. So definitely stay tuned. I will continue to do that series. I love doing it. Back to RSR. I was looking at that from a BTC perspective. It was right around here. So we were projecting this. This was the most bullish scenario where it breaks above this 120 level and kind of goes up here, retests. If the retest holds, then this is fucking bullish. However, this, you get an inverted hammer here. It gets retested. The retest doesn't hold. See this? Needs this to hold for upside. This doesn't hold. We get price acceptance below this line. That is a very bearish implication. Excuse me. In that short video, I also described, hey, if this doesn't hold, then we're going to this green line. That's a bounce I want to play. So if you look and fast forward, it didn't happen exactly as projected, but this was the bounce that you want to play. Now we're back at this level, the breakout territory level, and now we're still closing below it. So, but this is a bullish looking structure. It has the potential for it. If this breaks out, there's going to be a lot behind it. So I would say if you start to get closes, daily closes above this level, you might only need one. But if you get a nice candle and it closes around like 125 or something, BTC dominance looks bearish, that would give you the implications of a stronger breakout that would then lead to 160 and above, potentially even up here or a new all-time high. And that would probably coincide with Coinbase listing. So that's giving you guys the update on RSR. I'll give you HBAR real quick, which is actually looking pretty good on the BTC pairing. However, this is just a really nasty downtrend that's continuing after capitulation. So we had this structure here that ended up capitulating and then just slowly grinding down, even stop ran this level. So if we don't bounce out of this, it's fucking over. However, look, the bulls showed up. There's big buy volume on this candle, which this is a beautiful looking daily. It's now making a bull flag here. If we're able to break above, I like this 158 level. You also have MA confluence there. If you can get above here, we're looking at like 190-ish. If you get above 190, I think this will be a launch pad and will end up being extremely bullish. And you'll see that there will probably be some sort of fundamental catalyst that will be announced as this is breaking out. So I would keep an eye on it. It's actually looking strong for the longest. It was looking awful. But this, you have enormous volume, and now it's starting to curl up. I would pay very close attention to this guy here. And watch for this. This level ended up being quite significant, even on the lower time frame. See? 158, exactly wick there. Then you get retrace, starting to come back. I say over this level, you can buy this kind of safely, in my opinion. It would look strong. So that's what I got on HBAR and RSR. I don't know, are you guys like scared to talk or what? Like, I thought this was gonna be like one of these like you know, in my mind I was like, all right, let me try something new. I want it to be like a talk radio, like sports talk radio where people call in, you know, like, and you know, I'm picturing some guy who's got like 50 followers on CT and follows us and is like, shit, like I'm smarter than these guys. I got something to say. I want to say what I got to say, and I want to give you the opportunity to say what you got to say. But clearly, nobody wants to talk. Okay, Bebop will hop on.
Bro, you know, the majority of people in crypto are just hyper autistic. So, you know, asking them to come out in public for the first time.
All right. Well, somebody's got to have some balls, okay? I mean, Bebop stepping up to the plate. I'm gonna give him the rights. Let me unmute him.
DeFi Ted, where are you, dude? Come pop in. Bro.
Bebop, you are live with the Roundtable. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, dudes? How you doing?
All right. How you liking it?
Hey.
Real quick, a lot of people, this is a nice tip. A lot of people don't know about Delta Exchange. They got leveraged BTC pairs. So you can long like YFI and fucking Ren against BTC right now. It's pretty nice.
Oh, really?
Is it decentralized?
No.
But indeed, that is a good tip.
They don't KYC though. It's pretty sweet. You should check
It's
it
called Delta Exchange.
out. Yep.
I remember the name, but I never checked it out.
Yeah, and if you want to help me out and use my ref link, just
Hey, get out of here, you. Cool. No. All right. Thanks for the pointer. Appreciate it. All right.
Yeah, you got it.
Elizabeth wants to talk. You'd have to join. You'd have to join the public lounge. I don't see you in there, so you'd have to be in the lounge first. So look within the Discord for public lounge. Join there, and I will unmute you. Thank you, Bebop and Rocksteady. Sonny, KJ, can you share a Gather chart? I'm on the fence about buying some. I'm an advisor to Gather, and it's a somewhat low cap, so I'm not gonna go crazy. I would say that you probably if you're interested in, definitely do some research, join the Telegram channels. The community is quite lively. It really is like the most 2017 shit like I've ever seen. Recently, it gives me like a lot of happiness to be part of that Telegram and part of that group and team. And what I can say about it is, as far as like a low cap project that was completely funded by crypto traders and is actually delivering or making the effort to deliver on real world adoption, I don't think you find anything in that same cap range that is accomplishing as much. Plus, like, there's a lot of exciting progress happening within the project, and as far as like using crypto for people to monetize their content, like, I love the concept because I'm somebody that hates ads. Gather basically allows content producers like websites or streaming services to use a small amount of their subscribers or viewers bandwidth to mine crypto with, and then they get paid. So instead of having to do paid ads and shit, like basically the people reading your blog or whatever are using like a little bit of their computing power to mine crypto. So that's like the project in a nutshell. But they also provide web services and have some pretty nice real world partnerships going, as well as crypto partnerships. So I would check it out if I were you. If you guys want to join the Discord and hop on voice, you know what? I'll drop hopefully you're following me on Twitter. If not, anybody could talk. Robert Paulson's Moops, like, are you in here? We're waiting for people.
Elizabeth made her way into the
Elizabeth made her way?
chat now.
Okay. All right. I don't see her.
Oh shit, a grill.
A grill. A girl. Oh shit, a girl. Yeah, if you want, I dropped the Discord link on my Twitter. So, let me try to find it. I'll drop it into YouTube as well if you guys are in YouTube and you're not in here. Where the fuck is it? Here it is. So, copy link.
I can unmute her real quick.
Yeah, but
Hey Elizabeth, should work now.
I think she's still served. No, she's muted herself. No,
She still muted herself, I think.
you would have to unmute yourself.
It's either that or I did something wrong.
Who's farting? What is that?
That's it's Messiah, I think.
I don't know what's going on.
There you make that fucking
All right, we
accusations.
got Ted in here. DeFi Ted. You need speaker. So Elizabeth would need speaker role also. All right, so
Okay.
yeah, so
that was
let's let Elizabeth go first, but she's still muted for some reason. She may have muted herself. All right, so Ted, what's up, man?
How are we?
How you doing?
Very good.
Oi.
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 Yeah. Crocodile Hunter here. How are we?
What's
DeFi
up,
Ted
Ted?
in the house.
Good to be on.
Good to have you, mate.
What
Yeah,
you
I'm
got?
a little bit more. The terminology here in Australia is bogan than Ben. So, that just means I'm further country.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, no, I'm farming Rook, Messi. I'm not a non-Rook bag holder. I just decided not to buy it off the market and pump your bags.
I mean, that's respectable, except for the not pumping my bags. Maybe you should be a little bit louder about it. I know a lot of people that matter listen to you and follow you, so maybe you should start. Maybe you should start running your mouth.
Product market fit, it's there. I mean, mine extracted value is going to go up. If you haven't seen the Mars.Poolin pool come out as well, hash rate, mine extracted value, anything to do with the mining on the blockchain where you can actually kind of hedge that risk as a miner is going to be huge over the next 6 months. So there's definitely a few of those projects coming out, but the reason I shared that connects is because that to me is one of the biggest bull signals for Ethereum. I mean, L2 to L2, where you can actually interact without having to interact at the L1 base layer and still interact with all of the dApps that move there, will be the absolute catalyst. You'll be able to do everything that you did on Uniswap or any of those other protocols without at the height of Ethereum dumping, trying to get out of position, paying 500 gwei for a transaction. I think I paid about $100 on average per transaction the other day to do swaps. So that will go down. You'll be able to move your stable coins to and from different platforms very quickly, very easily. And I think you're going to see the quality of what they can deliver then go right up. So everyone should be very excited for the layer 2 transfer for Ethereum. I think that's a huge bull case that everyone's kind of expecting, but I don't think they know how big it's going to be.
You're talking about optimism, right?
Well, I'm talking about a number. So Connect with their Vector platform is on mainnet today. So what that effectively does is allow any L2 platform to talk to each other, interact with each other on a transactional level. So if it's on ZK Rollups or Optimism or XDAI or Matic, wherever it is, it connects those rather than having to go in and out of the base layer. And this was always going to be one of the problems for L2s before this type of technology, because L2s are only as strong as the liquidity that's on there, because people forget that you've got to take the liquidity from the L1 where it is today and put it on L2 for it to be usable, to functional. It's got to port itself to that L2 solution. But by having this Connect platform allows you to talk between L2s, means that you don't have to come back and forward from the L1. It just settles on L1. So it'll be a very fast, a very scalable, and very cheap way of interacting with Ethereum DeFi. So we should all be pretty excited for what the next 6 months bring with the L2 evolution.
I agree. I think Synthetics is going live in some limited form on Optimism, like right now, right?
There's been a beta test that's been out now that you could have been a part of if you were a Synthetics holder. There's a number of them already using it. I think they've had their staking platform on there for a little while now as well, where you could just do your staking on the L2 and manage your C ratio. But yeah, they're not far away from launching that in its, completely. And they'll be able to scale to the things that they've always promised, 10x leverage on pairs, a number of different types of options functions as well. And with all the other platforms that are built on top of Synthetics, will sit there on top of that L2. So, in probably the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, we're gonna have a great example of what the rest of L1 Ethereum looks like compared to a really good L2 app.
Yeah, that's huge. And then I think Uniswap. When was the beta on Optimism for Uniswap?
I think before
March.
Before the end of March, yeah. So, and there's a number of other protocols that have got V2s coming out in March. So I imagine that's more down to Optimism, where they're linked to Optimism. So I imagine that's linked to the more their side of things than Uniswap or any of the other adapts. But if you've been following XDAI and Stake, that's absolutely been pumping. I know Benny put a call out for Stake a while ago, and they're doing some serious volume now with some of the apps that they've got on their L2. But one of their downfalls is that nothing communicates from L2 to L2 until today. So you have to get that liquidity onto the L2 for it to be useful. But they're doing some pretty good numbers.
Is there what were you calling this interoperability protocol for the L2s?
So it's called Connect. The name of the I'll actually get the Twitter up for it.
Yeah, I'd like to dive a little further into that.
So Vector is the name of the platform. Connect is the place that is the solution. Connect is the place that built it. So I'm just copying that link and I'll post it.
Okay.
For you. There we go. I posted it in the link. There you are. That's the link to the tweet there, Messi. But yeah, like I said, that's on mainnet today. So there's going to be a lot of there's probably still some things to work out there with how it'll what some of the seamlessness looks like, and that'll come down to the teams building on their individual L2s and then interacting with this vector. But the way that we move in DeFi, especially and in crypto, I mean, the good thing about not having regulation is how fast we can move.
All right. Good stuff.
What are your bags right now, man?
Mine specifically. So my two biggest bags right now for myself are Cream and Curve. It was Sushi up to a point, but I just feel like Cream's got much more upside than Sushi does at the moment. And a lot of people are going to go, well, hang on, I don't understand that. But once you start to understand how stable credit works within UN system and what that means for the Iron Bank with Cream, it's ELL5 non-liquidatable loans.
Interesting.
I can put collateral in and not risk liquidation. So that then because it's the way the stable credit works, and I'll come back to that. But basically, that's the interoperability they're going for. So you'll be able to, with stable credit, obviously do the IL protection, where it will pretty much offset the majority of IL that you receive being in an AMM, and then Iron Bank basically stores the collateral factor that you have in there, which is a 75% ratio to what you've just put into the AMM to mint the stable credit, and then you can borrow other collateral assets back against that, but it's always backed by that AMM stable credit pool rather than your collateral, because it's backed by the pool rather than your individual collateral amount, which allows it to be non-liquidatable. I'll put some more data in there.
Not to mention, Cream's at a $33 million cap, and Sushi is at 530. So obviously,
exactly. So
a higher risk proposition, and also you have Sam kind of behind Sushi as well. But
well, yeah, Sam is definitely still involved with Sushi. But the thing is in when it comes to these lending platforms, TVL is a meme. All right. So at the moment, Arve's got what the most, 3 billion. You've got Comp, it's got about 2.9 billion, and then you've got Cream that's got like 310 million. Yeah. But the funny thing is that Comp is actually lending out nearly 80% of their total what's in there, right? So 80% usage ratio. Arve is around about 15%. I think they're using it. Yeah. So this is the difference. And only borrowing generates fees, right? Origination loans, interest, that they generate fees from people borrowing and repaying, right? So if your borrow rate is down, then that's why the TVLs are mean. That doesn't earn you anything, right? That's earning other people something. Mm-hmm. So Cream is at about 15% as well. I can only see that going up without the fear of liquidation. And that's where fees are generated.
Sick. All right. In respect of the other people, because frankly, my jaw is starting to hurt, and I'm going to want to wrap up relatively soon.
Yep.
DeFi Ted, thank you so much for joining. I want to get to Elizabeth's question because I think it's a good question. And I'm going to, we could talk about it together, but I know Xavi has a good answer as well. But Elizabeth wants to
Very
know,
nice.
yeah. And Japan's glorious leader brought up the M2, and I think Xavi, you're probably well equipped to answer this question, but Elizabeth just wants to understand a little better the relationship between BTC and other risk assets. I would assume you can lump into that with DXY and the stimulus, the political situation. What does it mean? Why is DXY dumping? And what can we take from that in regards to risk assets?
There is no way I can go on with this topic right now.
Okay. All right. So basically, Xavi doesn't want to answer. He's tired. I wasn't
But
expecting
you
that.
can. I mean,
But
it's fucking 4:50 in the morning over here. I'm
Oh.
also.
It's 4:50. Oh, you're in Europe too, Xavi? Holy shit.
No.
Oh.
No, it's 11 p.m. here, but I have long days. And
It's a long answer. All right.
all right.
Bottom line is like whatever asset you're trading with, if one of them's showing weakness, then in relationship to that, you would assume that the other is showing strength. The same way if you're trading alts versus BTC and BTC is showing extreme strength, then the odds of you winning an alt versus BTC trade are quite low. The same could be said for weakness. So the dollar is obviously showing weakness with good reason due to central banks across, not just America, but everywhere is printing money. That's the only way we're going to survive from an economical perspective. We're not backed by gold, and this is what we do. Whenever there's a crisis, we're going to print the shit out of the dollar. And just look at what stuff was. I mean, anybody that's on this, watching this stream, should have some sort of understanding of how that works. But is the stimulus of $3 trillion from Biden that he's talking about a meme and a sell the news? No, because it's there's no way to fundamentally avoid the ramifications of that. So in my opinion, I would assume that dollar will continue to downtrend. Looking at where it is, it's getting very close to support. You can see bounces on it, but they don't just give it to you for free. It always gets scary, like as you witnessed the other day with Bitcoin. Dips 20%, shakes people out. If you're in leveraged longs, you're wrecked, right? Without stops. So, it'll continue to be volatile, but ultimately, until something happens with the trends of both indexes as well as Bitcoin, crypto, I would anticipate dollar continuing to be bearish, risk assets continuing to be bullish. So I hope that kind of answered your question. Just like Xavi, I'm a little tired myself. And I was trying to hand that off to him, and he, definitely did not step up and come off the bench to help. But that's okay. Who FSJD has a question? I'm going to give him a chance to talk. And we're going to wrap up soon. So if you guys want to talk, definitely get it in soon because my jaw is starting to hurt. And
Are you able to?
yeah, there
able
you
to
are.
hear me?
Who is this? Who are you?
Okay, awesome. Yeah, yes. My name is UFSJD, I guess, on
Okay.
Discord. But yeah, I've been following you since 2017. But yeah, I guess I had just two quick questions. So I was curious, in terms of just pure intuition, just kind of how you feel about the market emotionally. Where would you say we are in 2017 terms, both in terms of alts and BTC, and then also what trends do you think from 2017 that were outside of just pure FOMO and infinity that were popular in 2017, do you think are done now? Then lastly, just because it reminds me of your VeChain call from back in the day, what do you think of sharing, like SHR, if you've taken a look at it at all?
Okay. So let's do one question at a time. Where are we in the cycle in regards to 2017? If I had to guess, we're either, the most logical answer would be we're breaking out above 3K after the Bitcoin Cash fork, and we're running up to like 5K right before China FUD. Like maybe we're in that area. We could be. I'd like to get what the other guys think about that. I hadn't really thought about
would
it
have
in a while.
I would have an answer to that. And Messi already, it's either Messi or Blunts who said that these comparisons
We could be before it though.
might not-
Also,
might
I've
not
considered that
be
as well.
super useful, but
Yeah.
for a while I was looking at it like from the 2016 lens because
Right.
of like what indicators did on the weekly and monthly whole of like 2020. Since April we were following that 2016 move, and then when DeFi season came, that lined up pretty well with how privacy coins behaved in 2016, where they were the hot shit, and they had their own cycle before 2017 kicked off. And I was thinking that we were there, and then we broke all-time high, and that would have been January 2017. And now Bitcoin did something else. Like it didn't like reject immediately and then hover above and then reject again like it did back then, which gave alts a lot of room to breathe very, very quickly. And where they were able to get that momentum that Messi was talking about to then follow Bitcoin upwards, just like everything pumping at once, which was like almost the first half of 2017. That didn't happen. And Kobe recently put out a tweet, which I appreciate a lot, where he said that how Bitcoin's behaving right now is much closer to 2013 than it is to 2017. And I think we might be onto something there. Where in 2013 we had like these two very distinctive pumps, and it was marking up very, very drastically and quickly, and then it consolidated for a longer while and chopped everybody out like months, and then it went for another even harder thrust upwards, where it eventually blew off, and that was the end of the market cycle. And Zavi pointed Bob Luca's latest video out to me. He did that January 7th before this drop, and he also independently from Kobe pointed out that 2013 move, and also had a fractal on silver going, where he framed that in a very smart way, in my opinion, where he said the first pump was a new demographic entering Bitcoin. Like at first you had the cypherpunks, the libertarians, the very, very early adopters of Bitcoin, and then the tech-minded people came in, and they marked in the price, which locked out that area, that old price area. It locked everybody out of that. Bitcoin never retraced to those levels, and that was the first pump of 2013. And then it consolidated, and then the later markup came. And I think you could argue that the same is happening right now with the new demographic, like the institutional buyers entering and marking up the price so heavily, so aggressively, that late retail got locked out completely out of that 10K zone, for example, like 10K, 12K, 14K. I doubt that we'll see that before the low off. So I really like that. And obviously, like, alts weren't. We only had very, very few alts back then, so you can't compare that easily. But in terms of Bitcoin, I really like that idea of this first impulse, saying goodbye to that price area, basically.
Yeah, could be. I like that. I like that as well.
So that was a lot for tired Stillman, but
yeah, that was a good answer, Stillman. So the other question was, other questions were what trends from 2017 are just dead now? I don't really understand the question. And then I'm sorry. And then SH.
No worries. I guess the question was like, just in terms of like fundamentals that were guiding the market, or like altcoins in 2017.
What's
I remember
dead
at one
now?
point like platforms were really big.
Right.
Everyone was like investing in platforms. Do
Then
you see
it
anything
was
that's just, like, not relevant anymore?
It was blockchain 3.0. It went from one thing to the next. So master nodes, just coins that had master nodes. Then you had a whole bunch of different
the
privacy
overarching
coins.
theme in 2017 was Ethereum killers. You know,
Yes,
if
yeah.
you want to get really down and dirty, you know, is the next Ethereum, because you know we still had a lot of the scalability challenges.
But
that we face
it
today.
went through different trends. So there were many trends within. Like obviously you had the Ethereum killers, but I remember it going from a masternode trend where you were buying shit like Monkey Coin and Syndicate and Chain Coin, and all of those did 20x in a week. And then it pivoted over to privacy coins where Dash, Monero, Verge, and there were a lot of other privacy coins, Lux, obviously, and some others. Then it would go to the platforms, and it was just like a roulette of different baskets of similar coins pumping. One of the ones that I noticed, there was also a China trend where Neo took off, and then you had all the other Chinese coins like Nulls, VeChain, WTC, other Chinese kind of base coins, RFID tech. There were all like different mini sectors that were popping off all at once, or not at once, taking turns, and that sector would pop off and then the next one would. So we would watch for like a large cap. Like, so if like basically when Dash pumped, it's like, all right, we're looking at privacy coins now. Let's check out the other privacy coins and look for the shit that's like 10 million cap and watch that do 5x. You know, low sat season trade ogre. Another thing that was common that all of a sudden like kind of went away, but I remember was people were shilling the shit out of it, was like the market supply. People didn't understand what market cap meant. All they wanted was to know that like, oh, there's only like a million tokens, so this can go up to like $1,000 or whatever. And then it went to like what was the cheapest token, and there was billion tokens, but it was like half a cent. So if this can go to 10 cents, you know, it's just kept going. So I don't know if anything really applies from 17, in my opinion. Sorry to cut you off, Messi.
So he says that the market in many ways seems to not be based out of these short trends. And I think they're just they're happening also rather quickly, and the wider demographic doesn't even notice them as much. Like for example, like seniorage stable coins, algorithmic stable coins, that would be one big trend that happened over the past months that already reached its first hype peak and is like consolidating right now.
Yeah, a lot of them are below $1 right now, like significantly.
Interoperability.
So
The biggest
you definitely have that. And I mean, platforms like ETH killers, you also still have that. I mean, Solana has been doing really, really well. Polka, you know, quickly went up to like 6 in Bitcoin market cap.
Ubic, not so much.
Right. The other level one succeeding right now are the things like Solana, because there's real value being built, you know, in a DeFi sense on those products. You know, we've got this overarching, you know, theme right now that is DeFi. If it's not DeFi, it's not hot, period. You know, there's absolutely no exception to that. DeFi encompasses a lot of different, you know, micro trends. As you know, somebody was saying the seniorage trend was quite strong. You know, it'll be interesting to see what the next trend that emerges will be. But even then, you know, if you're still banking big on Ethereum killers and things like that, you're fucked. I mean, there's things. I remember.
So I should let go of my expanse bag.
I think it might be hands, bro.
Ubic, no good.
Killer, though, yeah, I mean, nothing is killing Ethereum. You know, the main thing here is being able to coexist with Ethereum and to fill niches where Ethereum isn't suitable for certain applications. I think Solana is poised to be fucking huge in the next 5 years. I mean, you've got the backing of Alameda Research, which is quickly probably becoming one of the largest trading firms in the world, I would imagine. Over the next 5 years, you've got Jump Trading, who is like one of the largest trading firms in the world right now. And their full weight is behind Solana. And others as well. But, you know, there's other applications that or other blockchains where things can happen, you know, that just can't happen on Ethereum, or you know, maybe can't even happen on, you know, in the context of a level 2 on Ethereum, you know, which is interesting. But, you know, if you look at something like maybe Algorand or ADA or Tezos even, you know, for me, those are just dead men walking. There's absolutely interest in those blockchains, outside of the bag holders that hold them. And any kind of financial application or anything being built on that blockchain isn't something that's being done organically. It's something that they've had to pay for. There's no users.
Good answer.
So if one of you guys have one of those bags, and I just talk shit, my apologies, but it is what it is. I'm right. It's there's a lot of zombie bags that are walking around right now.
Yeah, so regarding sharing, that's a partnership and then didn't pump anyways, right?
I don't know anything about
I
it.
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I looked into that briefly, and I know that, for example, Grills on CT showed that very early, and I was looking at it at Bitmart before, and it had a huge pump afterwards. I didn't buy it in, and was a bit salty. I haven't looked at the tokenomics and the token utility and value accrual on the token, but since my suspicion is that might not be optimal. The thing smells of like of that 2017 enterprise blockchain trend. Like if they figured that out, then I think that it might have a future. But since like their product development, like business development, seems to be really good. But if the token sucks, the whole thing sucks basically. I think you won't be able, like a project won't be able to really blossom in this market anymore if they still haven't learned the lessons that DeFi taught in terms of token utility.
Yeah, and I just have the chart open. I mean, it can definitely reverse. It looks like it's starting to pick up some steam. I would keep an eye on it. It looks, if you look at the other charts, you should know what to look for. But it looks like it could be getting close.
Yeah, it's very V-chainy in terms of its product. Yeah, exactly. That was my impression too.
Yeah, very in terms of its product. Everything else seems quite solid. Yeah. So with that, I think I'm done. I've had enough.
Me too. Like
it's been a marathon stream, 2 hours, but I really had a blast. This was awesome. It was a lot of fun. Normally I can't keep my headphones on for this long because I have big ears and they fucking hurt. But the other thing that's really bothering me is something is wrong with my computer or my connection because of this stupid 420. So for the people that are complaining about the quality, wasn't intentional. It won't be like this next time. As far as doing like a roundtable and letting people join to talk, like I really love the concept. I think next time people will be prepared because they will have seen it. So I would love to do this again. Messi, you always have an open invitation to join whenever. I
would always love to.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot when you come on.
Yeah, it's a
Also,
good time.
like that. Thanks for hopping on.
Yep. Shout out to Benjamin
thank you
Blunts.
for all the guests. Thank you for the people that had the courage to speak up. I know it can be difficult, especially if it's not, something you're necessarily used to doing. So, big props. I enjoyed the concept. That was cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Good
stuff.
All right, so we should do that again.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it again. I hope you guys enjoyed. Everybody have a good night. Trade safe. And